Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, Metro Manila rolls out the new alert level system today as part of the government's bid to revive the economy. Experts are weighing in on the need for booster shots for frontliners amid the threat of the Delta variant. DOH's vaccine expert panel member and infectious diseases expert Rontgene Solante joins us live. And later, security officials call for calm amid Japan's warning over a possible terror attack. Security analyst Gregory Wyatt tells us more live. COVID-19 alert level 4 is now up in Metro Manila. The pilot run of this new lockdown scheme will initially last for 2 weeks. Under alert level 4, leisure and recreational activities in indoor and closed venues are banned. Gatherings are limited. Outdoor dining, personal care services, and religious activities are allowed at 30% capacity outdoors. A 10% indoor capacity operation can happen only for fully vaccinated individuals. Local governments can also impose granular lockdowns for 14 days. Meantime, a hospital group doubts the new scheme will be effective in lessening COVID-19 cases. In other news, experts are still weighing in on the recommendation to give booster shots to medical frontliners amid the threat of the highly transmissible Delta variant. Preliminary studies show that the efficacy of some vaccines wanes after 6 months. The country's vaccine rollout kicked off last March. The World Health Organization and Malacanang expressed concern there is no enough supply of COVID-19 vaccines just yet. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have DOH's vaccine expert panel member and infectious diseases expert, Dr. Rontgene Solante. Dr. Solante, welcome to the source. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Pinky. Good morning to our viewers.
So you are part of the vaccine expert panel, and there was already a recommendation on booster shots for 2 healthcare workers and immunocompromised. Can you just please tell us what is the latest on this?
Well, I think the recommendation has been weighed in by the expert group, and it's already in the Department of Health, and hopefully they can come up with the final recommendation, because the VEP is only recommendatory based on our findings, and it's still up to the Department of Health that will have the final decision if and whenever there will be recommendations on booster shots.
But you're a member of the vaccine expert panel. So if you're a member of the vaccine expert panel, the members are already recommending to the DOH to use booster shots. So meron ho kasi akong nabasa na meron pang all expert panel group. So can you explain this to us? There's a vaccine expert panel and yet there's an all expert group?
Yes, the all expert group are composed of different committee clusters of vaccines. You have the NIFIC, you have the HTAC, you have the NITAG, okay, and also we have the VEP. And when we were evaluating the task of the VEP is really more on looking at the different vaccine candidates for a clinical trial, and we're also tasked to do some evaluation for EUA, as when FDA will also decide to give us that particular evaluation. So that's our task, and we're also following up the different vaccine effectiveness, efficacy, which is also part of our mandate, and we are only recommendatory, and the final say, the process of the decision will always be in the expert group. Of course, the approval of the Secretary of Health is the top most important decision there.
It's let's focus on what you said, that you're also tasked to look at the efficacy of the various vaccines that we have here in the country. What have you found out about Sinovac?
I think when we did our homework in the VE panel, we found evidence that there was really waning immunity based on the neutralizing antibodies. So for everyone to be clear with this, no, that indicator of a neutralizing antibody is what most vaccine manufacturer or those who did or who are releasing these vaccines, they use it as a parameter to indicate if there is still protection. No? Although we know that there are other parameters like the cell-mediated immunity, and with that neutralizing antibody, it has waned after 6 months to 8 months, and part of their recommendation then is to give another shot of a Sinovac, especially for those high-risk population.
So, para po malinaw, Doc Solante, ano po ang naging recommendation ng vaccine expert panel?
That for those fully vaccinated with Sinovac, at least 6 to 8 months after receiving the second dose, another dose of the vaccine can be given to maintain that protection after that particular period.
So we're just talking about, to be clear, just Sinovac right now.
Yes, for Sinovac. And only for those healthcare workers that are front lines taking care of COVID patients or those in COVID facilities.
What is the recommendation for booster shots? Is it a third dose of Sinovac, or are you looking at maybe Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson?
Okay, so I will be talking about outside our recommendation, just personal observation about the other vaccines. Okay, you know that in some countries now they're also giving the third dose of Pfizer or Moderna in immunocompromised individual or those who are elderly. Okay, and these are specific population that we anticipated that there is also waning immunity compared to the general public. And since a third dose is important for these people to receive because higher risk of severe cases is expected among this population, which is really important to continue to protect this individual for this more severe form of infection. And that's the rationale of giving a third dose of any of this vaccine.
Let's cite examples. I hope you don't mind, Dr. Solante. May I use you as an example? When was your second shot and what vaccine?
I received my first shot March 2, and then after 4 weeks, I had my second shot of Sinovac. So that was before April. And so we are now September, so more or less 6 months from the last dose I had with Sinovac.
So you're on your 6th month since your second dose, okay? So if you are on your 6th month, studies are showing, and the vaccine expert panel is saying that nag-wane na po. The efficacy of your Sinovac is already waning.
Yeah, correct. And
okay. I'm sorry, sir. Let me add.
Every day for COVID patients, but I just have to make myself protected, wearing the appropriate health protocol during when I face my patient with COVID.
That's actually where I wanted to go. So you are on your 6th month vaccination anniversary. Nandun naman kayo sa 6th month since your vaccination, number one. You're directly exposed to vaccine patients. And it's been proven from your study, from the vaccine expert panel, that the efficacy of your vaccine, which is Sinovac, is waning. Gaano ho kadelikado ngayon ang inyong sitwasyon?
Well, I'm still more comfortable compared to when I did not have the vaccine. No, that's the reality. Whether this waning immunity will translate to a higher risk of infection after 6 months, then that remains to be seen. Because until now, I did not have the infection. I always see to it that I'm fully protected, and that's what we are also uh, uh, most important for our healthcare workers, especially for those who receive their vaccine since March, no? To be very careful and to always be wearing the appropriate health protocol when you're facing your patients, and should not
Mhm.
be complacent, especially for
Yeah.
other activities that might put you at risk of a reinfection or an
But
infection.
would you say you are more fearful now because as the months have progressed, this vaccine is showing signs of waning?
Meaning, because I see myself, no, as high risk of getting the infection, because I see patients with high viral load every day. Even if I'm protected, we know that 100,
Mm-mm.
it's not 100% protection, even if you're wearing all those gadgets. So that's the fear. But uh, given the scenario that we are in, also that uh, we are looking up after these patients, then that's our work and that's our responsibility.
Mm-mm. Do you feel that the healthcare workers who've gotten the first batch of Sinovac, we're only talking about Sinovac, just to be clear about this, because yan pa lang yung pag-aaral so far. And I know that there's a similar study in Thailand that you had mentioned in the past. My question is, do you think this is somehow a race against time for those who got the first batch of vaccines in March and in April, because you are reaching the 6-month mark?
Well, this is also the same feeling, I think, no, for most healthcare workers. But given the scenario that our vaccine is really limited, no, so this the limited supply of the vaccine, and we still do support the objective of the government that everybody should be getting
Mm-mm.
the vaccine, especially the priority population. No, they should be prioritized. Those who are not vaccinated yet over the receipt of these booster doses.
All right. Dr. Rontgene Solante, we need to take a very short break. The source will be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our guest today, vaccine expert, panel member, and infectious diseases expert, Dr. Rontgene Solante. Dr. Solante, I'm not sure if I might have missed it, but what is the recommendation of the panel on which booster is most suitable for those who have efficacy vaccines that are waning? Is it going to be Sinovac again, Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson and Johnson, Sputnik?
Well, if I can still remember, our findings was that a third dose of Sinovac is still enough and good enough to maintain that protection after getting the 2 dose 6 months ago. So I think it's the same platform. The third dose of a Sinovac was our recommendation, and not other platforms.
Mm-mm. And to compare this to, I read today that in the United Kingdom, they are already recommending, and they will very soon, give booster shots to the 50-year-old and above. At ang lumabas po dun sa United Kingdom is that the third booster shot would be either a full dose of Pfizer or half a dose of Moderna. For those who may have read this and are listening and watching us rather, why is this? Why would you know if it's a full dose of Pfizer and a half dose of Moderna?
Okay, because the Pfizer vaccine contains 30 microgram of the full dose, while Moderna contained 100 micrograms. So even if you have the Moderna to 50, so you're still good in terms of higher dose compared to Pfizer. So based on effectiveness data with Moderna, they're looking at the higher efficacy, effectiveness, especially against the Delta variant, and
Mm-hmm.
having the dose to from 100 to 50. I think it's still a good vaccine, since this is a third and a booster. Since the 2 dose already gave you that higher, you have that antibody, and giving the third dose will again increase that antibody or protection.
So why did you guys not recommend a third booster of either Pfizer or Moderna?
Okay. We need to find data yet that a Sinovac and then shifting to a booster with another platform will work. I know it will work. No, I know it will work, but we need evidence. We need data for us to really concretize that particular mix and match of a Sinovac and then another dose of an mRNA. There
But
are,
is
I think, one data that look at immunogenicity on mixing and Sinovac and with an mRNA, but that's just more on immunogenicity and still looking at other data.
pero hindi ho ba yun yung ginawa sa Thailand? Nag-mix and match na po sila ng Sinovac.
Yes, yes. So that's why we were, and also Indonesia. No, they're doing that also in Indonesia. And I have some friends there also in Indonesia who are doctors, and we're trying to tell them to please release your data on that, and hopefully we can get the data on that.
Okay. Before we went on a break, you talked about, of course, still supporting government's move and even the WHO to have everybody inoculated, the eligible population. Just a point I wanted to raise, going back to the healthcare workers, they are reaching their 6-month mark. Ano po? And it's been proven that the efficacy wanes after 6 months. I think that I don't know if you will believe me, that if the efficacy of your vaccine wanes after 6 months and you are directly exposed to COVID patients, it's almost as if, please, you can confirm or deny, agree or disagree. It's almost as if you're going to be back to zero by the 7th month or the 8th month of your vaccine inoculation since April. Para pong babalik na naman po kayo halos somehow doon sa numero ng mga unvaccinated, kasi you will have very little protection, or maybe, I'm not sure, none.
Okay, that's a good point. No, so if I'm going to walk you through some of the important aspect of this. Now, when you're vaccinated, you receive 2 full doses, okay, and your immunity wanes after 6 to 8 months. Your ability to block the transmission or getting the infection will also wane. But there's this part of that vaccine that will continue to protect you against a more severe infection. And that's the cell-mediated immune response, and which I believe is the one holding us that even if we get the infection, our risk of getting the more severe infection will still be low compared to not getting the vaccine.
Okay, I understand. Is that the memory cells? Yun ho ba yun? Kasi di ba may antibodies, may memory cells?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. But habang tumatagal po ang panahon, hindi ho ba, tagalugin ko na lang po, hindi ba bumababa yung antibodies nyo and posible yung memory cells nyo baka hindi na ganun katindi as you progress? And even if you say this protects you against severe and critical, kung mababa na po yan, konting-konti na lang po, at directly exposed kayo, what are the chances na hindi po kayo maging severe and critical after 8 months?
Okay, there are 2 possible risks that will develop a more severe and critical, even with the cell-mediated immune response is there. No, these are the elderly and those with comorbidities. So meaning, even if they have that vaccinated, their ability to mount a cell-mediated immune response with vaccine will still be not enough for them to be protected against severe and more critical case of the infection.
Wow. So that means, are you saying that parang mas delikado pa ang seniors and immunocompromised than the healthcare workers?
Yes. So if there are healthcare workers who have comorbidities and then they're looking at patients also every day, then they have to really be very, very careful compared to without the comorbidities and also the elderly population. That's why these are actual experience at the ground who have been getting these vaccines regardless of vaccines. But why did they still develop severe and critical? Because of those conditions that makes them less of the ability to mount enough immune response, enough antibody to protect them against the more severe form of the infection.
All right. So again, the vaccine expert panel has recommended the use of booster shots for Sinovac, and a third shot would be Sinovac again, but we are still awaiting the final recommendation from what is called the All Expert Group, and of course, the Department of Health. In the meantime, Dr. Rontgene Solante, please take care of yourself, sir.
Thank you, Pinky, and stay safe also.
Thank you. And when we come back, how should government officials treat the terror alert warning issued by Japan? A security analyst tells us more live. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned.